These 8 advanced English words will lift your fluency and your IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge score. And you won't just memorize them. You'll meet each one inside the story, feel what it means, then prove you caught it. That's how your brain keeps them for good. At 19,000 feet, in a storm that erased the world, Marek did the one thing a climber swears he will never do. He took out his knife, and he cut the rope that held his best friend. He was certain it would haunt him forever. He had no idea that Sam was still alive. They had reached the summit an hour before, the two of them, after a grueling 4-day climb up the mountain's unclimbed west face. It had been the hardest thing either man had ever done. Standing on that narrow summit, frozen and exhausted and laughing into the wind, had been the proudest moment of their lives. They should have turned back sooner. The storm came out of nowhere. One moment the sky was clear, the next a screaming white wall of snow swallowed the mountain whole. Marek and Sam began to climb down, roped together, blind in the whiteout, feeling for each hold with frozen hands. They could not see 10 feet ahead. They could only keep moving and trust the rope that joined them. It happened without a sound that Marek could hear over the wind. 1 second the rope was slack. The next it snapped tight and almost tore him off the face. Below him, unseen in the white, Sam had stepped onto a patch of black ice and hurtled. Straight over the edge of an overhang, his leg shattering on the rock as he went. He hurtled into empty air and stopped, jerking, at the very end of the rope, far below. Now Sam dangled there, broken and senseless, spinning slowly over a drop of 1,000 feet. And all of his weight hung from Marek. Marek had jammed his axe into the ice as an anchor, and he clung to it with everything he had left. But the ice was rotten, and the anchor was tearing free, inch by inch, dragging him toward the edge. Below, Sam dangled and did not answer his screams. Marek tried to haul him up. It was hopeless. Sam was dead weight, senseless or worse, his broken leg useless, and there was no ledge to brace against, no way on earth to lift a grown man straight up an overhang in a storm. Marek's hands were past pain now, numb blocks of wood. His whole body was going numb with the cold, and still he held on, hour after hour, calling a name the wind tore away. He held on until he could no longer feel his arms. He held on until the ice anchor had crept to its last inch, until he understood, with a terrible clarity, that in a minute or two it would rip out entirely, and then they would both fall, both die, 2 bodies lost forever on the mountain. Sam had not moved or made a sound in over an hour. By every sign Marek could read, his friend was already dead. It was the most harrowing choice a human being can face. To hold on was to die with his friend, for nothing. To let go was to live. With frozen, shaking fingers, weeping, screaming into the storm, Marek drew his knife, reached for the taut rope, and made the harrowing cut. The weight vanished. The rope whipped away into the white, and Marek, alone, began to climb down to live. He reached the high camp near dawn, more dead than alive, and collapsed. He had survived. He had also, he believed, just killed the only person he truly loved. The guilt of it was a weight far heavier than Sam had ever been on the rope. He lay in the tent and waited to feel something other than horror, and felt nothing but the wind. But Sam was not dead. When the rope was cut, he had fallen, not into the void, but into the soft snow of a hidden crevasse 30 feet down, which broke his fall and saved his life. He woke in the blue ice with a shattered leg, no rope, and no way up, sealed in a tomb of his own. Most men would have lain down there and died. Sam decided, instead, to get himself home. For 3 grueling days and nights, Sam Reyes dragged his broken body down the mountain. He could not walk, so he crawled. He lowered himself into the crevasse and out the far side. He hauled himself across the glacier on his elbows, foot by foot, splinting his ruined leg with the axe, eating snow, refusing to stop. When at last he reached the edge of the camp, half frozen and barely alive, he did not have the breath to shout. He simply scratched at the side of the tent. Marek opened the tent and could not, at first, believe what he saw. Then he was on his knees in the snow, holding his friend, sobbing, trying to confess, to explain, to beg for a forgiveness he was sure he could never deserve. But Sam, barely conscious, only gripped his arm. "You cut the rope," he whispered. "Good. It was the only thing left to do. If you had held on, we would both be dead, and then no one would ever have come back to find me. You living is the reason that I am alive." They both came down off that mountain in the end. The harrowing choice that Marek had been so certain would destroy him became, instead, the thing the two of them spoke of with a strange and quiet peace. For the cut rope had not been a betrayal at all. It had been the impossible, unbearable, correct decision that, against all the odds, had kept them both alive. Some bonds, Marek learned, are not broken by the knife. They are proven by it. Now, and did you catch all 8? Let's find out. A noun for the highest point or top of a mountain. Think of the very peak where a climber plants a flag at last. After 4 brutal days, the two climbers finally reached this. They stood frozen and laughing on the narrow what of the peak. The word is summit. After a long climb, they reached the snowy summit at dawn. An adjective meaning unable to feel anything, often from cold. It's how your fingers go after too long out in the icy snow. Hours in the freezing storm left Marek's hands exactly like this. His frozen hands turned to what blocks of useless wood. The word is numb. My feet were numb with cold after the long walk home. A verb meaning to pull or drag something with great effort. It's what you do dragging a heavy sack of sand across a yard. Marek tried in vain to do this to his friend up the cliff. There was no way to do what? Drag a grown man straight up the overhang? The word is haul. They had to haul the heavy wooden boat up onto the beach. A verb meaning to hang loosely, swaying and swinging in the air. It's what your legs do off the edge of a high wall or bridge. Below the overhang, Sam did this on the end of the rope. Sam would do what? Hang and swing. Over a 1,000-foot drop, broken and still? The word is dangle. The keys began to dangle from a thin string on the hook. A verb meaning to fix something firmly in place so it cannot move. It's what a ship does, dropping iron to hold fast against the tide. Marek used his axe to do this against Sam's terrible weight. He drove the axe into the ice to do what? Fix himself firmly. To the mountain. The word is anchor. They used steel bolts to anchor the tent against the howling gale. An adjective meaning extremely tiring, hard, and demanding. Think of a marathon run uphill in the heat with no rest at all. The 4-day climb up the icy west face was exactly this. It had been a what kind of climb that pushed both men to their very limit. The word is gruelling. The team faced a grueling 10-hour march through deep, wet mud. A verb meaning to fall or rush at great, uncontrolled speed. It's what a runaway cart does, careering wildly down a steep hill. On a patch of black ice, Sam did this over the cliff edge. He would do what? Fall fast and out of control over the overhang, stopping only at the rope's end. The word is hurtle. We watched the great boulder hurtle down the slope and smash a fence. An adjective meaning deeply distressing and painful to go through. Think of a memory so painful, you can barely bring yourself to speak it. Choosing whether to cut the rope was the most this thing Marek ever did. It was a what kind of decision that he was sure would destroy him forever? The word is harrowing. Survivors gave a harrowing account of the night the dam broke. Quick recap. How many do you still remember? Summit, numb,
haul, dangle,
anchor,
grueling,
hurtle.
harrowing.
A new English story every day. Subscribe and learn advanced words the way your brain actually keeps them. Inside a story you won't forget.